see that black stuff there? That black stuff is actually people coughing. Look, there's a man out there coughing. Since I've been standing here, all these people at this bus stop are coughing. He's just out there walking past, he's out there coughing. The Lord says, I will hand you over to your enemies. Now, who's your enemies? You think it's the people, but it's not. The Lord says, the battle is not with the flesh, but with spirits in high places. So Cain went up above us, and Moab, he has not been emptied from vessel to vessel. Whatever it is about this black vapor and your vapor that's being sucked out here, it's what makes you wrinkly. Everyone that's walking past here is having a little cough. So I don't cough, because when I first walk up to anything made of stone with an idol and I spit at it, Jesus used to heal with spit, and I spit at it, and usually the first time I spit at it, the spit bounces back at me, or it flies off to the left or the right of what I'm spitting at. I usually hit it with the second or the third shot. So wisdom, she will honour you, preserve you. I'm wise enough, because of wisdom, because of seeking the truth and reading the book of Proverbs and looking for wisdom, to know that when I walk past this idol made of stone, that it's making me sick and it's making me ill and it's stealing my life force. So when I see it, I spit at it, and the spit will bounce off it. It's like it has a little force field around it, just a little spit, doesn't have to be too big. Or else, if I don't spit at it when I'm walking past it, I'll start coughing my guts up. And so is everyone else. So, right now, you're looking at so for instance, when Adam and I was first death was a murder. Yeah, Cain killed it. He rose up and killed his brother Abel with a stone. So the first, and then he went and built a city. The first city, the first Gujarat, the first thing made of stone and brick, is called the Temple of Sweetwater in Mesopotamia. It's Enki's temple. Enki is a deceiver, or he's also called the mask is Loki. It's the same damn god, a heathen god. So when that first temple was built, the first murder happened, and then after the first murder is probably the first death. That is the first pair of people who, after the fall, they died at 100 years. 100 years is nothing. So the fall is mentioned in the Bible. It's mentioned in the book of Daniel, and it's mentioned at the start Adam and Eve fell. And then in the book of Daniel it says many will fall and be made white. So are they referring to the same thing? I think so. We're the white people that the fall is talking about. We used to be red, but now we're white, we're purified or something, and then we will help, and they will be risen up to help or something like that. So basically we get the new body and become new creatures in Christ, but we did fall. We've all fallen from grace. So when this was built, all of these churches and all, this is idolatry. It specifically states in the Bible, you shall not lift a tool upon a stone and call it an altar to the Lord. That is in direct contravene of the Lord's instructions not to take a tool upon a stone and call it an altar to the Lord. And he says, pray in secret, so no one sees you, because you have a personal relationship with him. You're talking to the Lord, you're not talking to everyone else. It's private. So you have a little place, or a little cupboard or a little closet, and you're praying now. That's what you do. But this thing here is probably more than likely it was built on the site of an old ley line or something like that. A ley line is where the earth has energy faults, energy going through it, and now all the energy is combinating in here, and your vapor is being stolen. And if this see all of these churches, before the cars came along 100 years ago, if these were left out in the open, they would turn into something black and dark like Bram Stoker's Dracula Bleeding Castle. The whole lot of them end up turning like that. Go around the back of them and you'll see where they were cutting corners and they're covered in all this black shit. Even the temples in the middle of the Guatemala jungle that are made of stone, the other heathen gods, they're black, they're covered in all this black stuff. It's the life force, the vapor of the planet. So when you're looking at all of this, you're looking at something that's killing you. It's not actually killing you, it's wearing you out. You will die the first death. The first death is not actually death. You just get worn out and you get wrinkly, that's it, and you die and you're worn out. You can't take it anymore. They sucked all the juice out of you. There's parasites feeding on you, basically. They're called there's 3 or 4 different races that went up before the flood because they had superior technology and built something called the Lays and they're living in there. And they come out on what we call UFOs today. Some of them look like the white people. Some of them are baldy little grey yolks. The men of Moab wear baldness. There's other, they look different. Some of them look like lizards because they were cursed. Cain was cursed, he was, to crawl on his belly. God threw him down on his belly. Michael the Archangel and has to kick him out of the heavens and cast him down to the earth, and then he makes war on the remnant. We're the remnant. So basically we should be preparing for the eventuality of this thing. Now if you were in Dublin and you were going to prepare for the eventuality of this thing, first thing you do is you pull down all this shit. You make an island in the middle of the sea and you join Britain together with Northern Ireland. You make a big island on a big bridge and you join them together with all of these stones. Then you knock down Guinnesses, you build a brand new spanky city there with super fast railways and a hydroelectric dam using the Liffey for electricity. And you build a new city where Guinness's was, and you pull down all the old shit, and you put a garden there. You have to put a garden on top of stuff like this. You can't rebuild on top of them. This has to become a garden. If I was to pull this down tomorrow, I'd have to turn it into a garden. You can't build on top of it. It's not lawful to build on top of it. And most of the stuff in Dublin is the same. But where Guinness's is, and the train station there, you could build a super fast train station from Cork to get you to the mountains. Because when Michael goes up, there's a war in heaven, and then the abomination that makes desolation comes down to the earth, and you're supposed to just drop everything and run for your life to the thing, because there's not only that, there's sinkholes opening up in the earth. And in all the Old Testament and all the writings that are hidden from us, there's giants under the earth, and they come up out of these holes and start eating people. And Jesus reiterates that those days were not shown, but for the elect few, there would be no flesh left upon the earth. But not only that, the real queen, that's not the Queen of Heaven, the Queen Mary and all. The Queen comes from the utmost part of the earth to judge this generation. She's probably the terrible judge. So the Queen doesn't come from above us. The Queen comes from underneath us. That's what Jesus says. She comes from the utmost part of the earth. Maybe the Queen of the leprechauns for all you know. You wouldn't know. We don't know these things. We don't know everything. But what we do know is that what they were teaching us inside of these brick monstrosities is lies. It was all designed to turn us away from the Lord and that weaken us spiritually so we could be taken captive by our enemies and fed upon. Because if those days were not shown, if there would be no flesh left upon the earth. But also you have to contend with the Lord if you keep turning to heathenism and allowing heathens to come into your country and bring their heathen gods. He releases the devourer from the pit. The devourer from the pit is microbial bacteria and stuff like that, and it eats the fruit of the land and it eats you. One day there'll be no bacteria in the place, it won't exist, and next thing it'll be there. Where did it come from? It jumped across the barrier from the pit. So usually you'll find it down in places like India, where they have all these mad sects. And you think that little sects is only a few hundred. In India, small number of people is probably 1 million. There could be hundreds of thousands of people in these sects. More people than go to church in this country. And that's what you're up against. So they come over here, they're after being eating dead bodies, doing all mad rituals, burning their wives on fires with their dead bodies, and fucking dead bodies, eating dead bodies, messing around with animals, all sorts of weird shit goes on. And they come up here and they're really smiley and really nice. And the sluts in this country, they just pull their knickers down, cock their ass in the air, they're up on them like a fucking monkey. Next thing you know, they have some sort of funky disease. This funky disease could be something that you only catch from a dead body. There's loads of diseases that you only catch from dead bodies. People need, in this part of the world, people need access to a morgue, or they have to go and get a shovel and start digging up the freshly buried people. But these diseases exist, but they're all coming back into this country because of the foreigners and their gods. Not because of the people that come over and worship Jesus. They're not bringing them. It doesn't exist. It only comes with idolatry, and sickness only comes with idolatry and heathenism and false teachings. So that's what you're looking at. The Catholic Church gave all this heathenism and all these false teachings because God told them to do it. God said, I'm giving you over to the hands of your enemies. So he gave us over to heathenism and idolatry and foreign regimes. And now he's telling us, come away from all of that, come out of Babylon. Babylon is the old bill. The law is a curse. We're supposed to be a military, we're supposed to have a proper education, we're supposed to behave in a certain manner. Our system is supposed to be the one that was given to us by our ancestors. But what we have now is a foreigner's madness ruling the place. That's why the foreigners love it here, a lot of them. They think they're in some sort of foreign or hippie heaven, they can do what they like. Over in England, the foreigners, especially the Asians, yeah, they love it. They can call the police and get a white man nicked for nothing. They could say he said something racist to me. That white man gets 12 months straight away. They have the white people over in England. A lot of these mad haters of white people. They have them on their nerves basically. They can't say nothing to them. Especially if they're wearing a fucking traffic warden uniform or something like that. Or anything got to do with a uniform. They bang you up at 12 months straight away if you even grew. You know, they say on to them, the first thing you do, they're all trained to do it, is they say, he said I was a packy, he said I was a nigger, he said I was this, he said I was that. But if I say it, he called me a dirty fucking paddy. They'll just laugh and say, so what are you, paddy cunt? That's what the old bill would say. They said it to me loads of times. I've got loads of racist shit off the old bill. I can't complain about it because my skin is not the right complexion.